Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. How are you? Doing good, thank you. Thank you for asking. Well, I am super excited to be here this evening at the historic, the illustrious gathering spot. And we want to thank you all so much for being here for our pre-debate conversation. I think we have who has the time? We have about 10 minutes that we're going to eke out in conversation. But I'm Stephanie Brown James, co-founder of the Collective PAC, along with my wonderful husband and partner, Quentin James. We started the Collective PAC in 2016 to support Black candidates running for office across the country. I'm proud to say that we have not only endorsed and helped funded, but helped to elect over 425 Black folks across this country to office. And we support Black candidates running on a local, state, and federal level. So if you know anybody running for office that is Black, that is progressive, that is focused on creating a present and future that elevates and impacts Black people to help our community succeed and to thrive, please come talk to us. We would love to talk to you. But tonight, we're going to hear from two old men. Yay. No, that wasn't good? Okay. No, seriously, though, I should have said two old white men, but that's neither here nor there. But before we hear from the debaters this evening, we wanted to, a group of us came together and we said we wanted to have this conversation in Atlanta, ground zero for what's happening in the political space, what's happening in this historic presidential debate. And so we came together and we're hosting it here at the gathering spot. So let me just first say thank you to Ryan and to TK. I think they're here somewhere. Thank you so much for opening the doors of the gathering spot for us. Thank you to your entire team who has been completely amazing to work with. I also want to say thank you to two of our event sponsors are also here on the panel. We have Mr. Theron Johnson here, who is the founder and CEO of Paramount Consulting Group, based here in Atlanta, Georgia. He is a native son. And also we have Miss Ashley Allison, who you may have seen her on CNN, as she is a CNN contributor. Let's give it up for her. She needs all the support she can, being on TV, talking about our issues and speaking up for us. But she's also the founder of Watering Hole Media, and I hope that she'll be able to talk a little bit about what that is this evening. So thank you so much for sponsoring, for leading this conversation. I also want to say thank you to our other event partners that we have. 100 Black Men of America, I know you're in the room. We'll hear from one of their leaders in our post-conversation. The Black City Councilman of Georgia, Georgia Association of Black County Officials, the House of Culture, and I hope that you were able to taste some of the Click Sparkling Wines, which is a Black-owned wine company based here in Atlanta that was in the other room. Let's give it up for them as well, because we want to definitely support Black businesses. And with that being said, if you need a drink during the debate, because you probably will, for those of y'all that drink, when one of them says something you don't want to hear, please know that this bar will be closed, but you can still go to the other bar if you want to enjoy any refreshments. Okay, now with that, we have 2 minutes for a conversation. Okay, so I pretty much only have one question. And the question is, what is it that we as Black voters, even no matter what our political affiliation may be, what do we as Black voters need to hear from President Joe Biden and from former President Donald Trump this evening? I will be good. I'm going to be good. Let's start off with Theron.
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for moderating this, and to echo what Stephanie said, thank you all so much for coming. For me, it's really simple. I think that Black voters, what we need to hear tonight is specifically what are these two presidential candidates going to do to help us with public safety, to make sure that we can continue to be entrepreneurs and the economy continues to grow. What does that mean for Black businesses and female businesses and Hispanic businesses as well? And I think the third thing is it's got to be healthcare. As we sit here, we're in a state that is number one with maternal mortality, right? So for those of us who have children or know people who have children, it's not just the pregnancy, it's not just the conception of life, but it's also that postpartum that is so important. And so I think that you'll hear tonight a localized message. You know, we just had a little water issue here in the city of Atlanta, but thank you to our great mayor and partnering with different counties like Fulton, DeKalb, and Cobb, and the state. And we feel like we want to hear about infrastructure. We want to hear about water and sewer. What are you going to continue to do? And then the last thing is black men. It is a battle for the support of black men. I'm feeling it, I'm seeing it. A lot of my friends, I have not met a black man yet that has come up to me face to face and told me they're voting for Trump. But I think we got to take that constituency very seriously going forward.
Well, I don't need to hear anything from Donald Trump tonight, personally, so I hope they mute his mic the whole night. But I think for Joe Biden, yeah, you can clap for that now. I think for Joe Biden, everything that you said, but I'll take a different slice at it. There's no reason that in Georgia you all made history in 2020 with the Senate races and flipping it blue. There's no reason that we had the largest youth turnout, black turnout, you name every constituency. That was the job I did on that campaign. There's no reason that happened and we still couldn't get the Voting Rights Act passed, the Freedom to Vote Act. We couldn't get the George Floyd Policing Act. We couldn't get, you name it, right? There were really good pieces of legislation, but the things that a lot of our folks showed up for, we weren't able to get them done. And so I think for me and for a constituency that I feel like doesn't believe in the system really working for them right now, how are we gonna fix that? I'm gonna vote and work my tail off to make sure we save democracy. But then how do we actualize democracy? Because a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? I have to wait 5 hours in line. I have to do these things. And so we had a lot of promises, and it wasn't Joe Biden's fault that those things didn't happen. But we also have systems in place that make it hard for those things to happen. So talk to me about how we can reform our systems holistically to have a more inclusive and active democracy.
All right, the clock is running. Shout out to Brother Bakari Sellers, one of your CNN colleagues.
Yeah, we were just on for 3 hours.
Hey, Bakari.
Good to see you, brother. My good South Carolinian in the house.
They have the best people in here. Y'all need to be on there.
No, we got them here. That's why they're here.
Let them know.
So listen, I think Joe Biden has one job tonight. That is to invalidate Donald Trump's campaign for presidency. If this country can seriously consider a convicted felon to be the president of the United States and people vote for him and he wins, then this country deserves the leaders that we elect. And I firmly believe that. Tonight, his job is to invalidate his entire candidacy. I want to see Joe Biden fight. Joe Biden is a great policymaker. We've done some good things so far, a lot more things to do in the second term. But tonight, we want to see a fighter.
All right, real fast. What message do you hope we hear tonight that will inspire the folks in this room to redouble, triple, do everything we can to make sure that our community comes out to vote? And anybody can start first.
I'll just say, I don't know if it needs to come from Joe Biden. I'll say it. I am coming out of the shadows, and I'm not gonna be embarrassed anymore to say I'm voting for Joe Biden. And I think that we need to be proud to say, you know, I do things every day as an adult that I'm not super excited to do. That's living. And so voting pretty much has been the same experience for me except for 2008 and 2012 when I got to elect and re-elect the first black president. So I think the message that I want to say to you all that you might not hear from these guys, but is like, we have to be the messengers. We are going to save ourselves this election, and so we have to go out and tell people that it is okay to vote for somebody that you do not totally agree with, but that will save democracy.
They just say an intro.
You know that it's going to take a little bit of time.
You're not missing anything. If you want to steer real fast.
Look, I think the thing that, for me, what we got to be proud to say is that exactly what Ashley just said. It's okay to say that you're voting for Joe Biden. He's not perfect, but neither is the other guy, right? And I think also we got to be very intentional about the apathy that exists and make sure we basically shame people to go and vote.
And this is a nonpartisan conversation, but we are also realists. All right, thank you. We're going to go.
Thank you all.
Enjoy the debate.
Let's tune in.
Anchor of CNN's The Lead and co-anchor of State of the Union. Dana and I will
Hey, Bakari, Sellers, what do you think of what's happening so far?
So debates are usually won and lost in the first 15, 20 minutes. Everything else lives online. The 46th president of the United States struggled from the outset in the debate. Debates about presentation, how you look, how you speak. And so Joe Biden struggled for the first few moments of the debate, stammered through, made some mishaps that we all know, we could see. And then he began to pick up a little vigor. But the question is, what lives online? Will this matter? The people in this room like Joe Biden. They're going to vote for Joe Biden for the most part. The people who are at other watch parties are going to vote for Donald Trump. What happens in the middle? And so I'm not sure this is going to move the ball much, but Democrats are proverbial bedwetters. And so the next 3 weeks are going to be really tough because they're going to be crying and bitching and moaning. But at the end of the day, you have three choices. You have Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or the couch. And I choose Joe Biden.
All right, appreciate that. As we're all drinking tequila. As the great Hillary Clinton says, Democrats love to fall in love, Republicans love to get in line. So, want to have some more audience reactions. Anyone has a thought about how the debate is going thus far that wants to say something? Anybody? If not, I have no shame to come straight to you. And where's Ryan at? Because I'm coming to you definitely, Ryan. I'm going to come on up here because she's looking around. Hey, just curious, Sharika Ekpo, any thoughts about how the conversation is going thus far?
Wow. So I think it's going okay. The president seemed a bit confused earlier. He seemed to be thinking faster than he could actually speak, but he got caught, himself and actually started to really pull together some really coherent thoughts. Ultimately, we are looking for him to demolish Donald Trump. We need him to actually bring out the facts and state his position on why we should vote for him.
Love that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes, sir. I'm coming right to you.
I think everyone already knows the facts about everything that's going on. I just think Joe Biden needs to really focus and, work on his delivery to really hit him with some good punches during the debate because, that's who we're rooting for no matter what. So we just have to keep on working and pray for him. Everybody, moment of silence for Joe Biden. We're gonna pray for that man. He about to come back crazy. Thank you.
Thank you. Prayer does work, but he's old too, so we want to balance the prayer, That could seem a little morbid sometimes. All right, anybody else have some audience reactions, some thoughts here? Yes, ma'am, I'm coming straight to you.
first debate of the 2024 campaign.
Hello? All right, y'all. Okay. It's so funny because didn't that just end like abruptly?
Sorry.
Feels like the state of America. Lord have mercy.
Can I get a Patron?
All right, so listen, we're not going to be long this evening. Thank you all so much again for joining us. There was a sister down here on the end, and I know she's chatting real fast, but I want to see if anybody else has a couple of thoughts about the conversation this evening while our panelists come up real fast. We are not going to be long, and I know that if you have to leave, that's totally fine. Thank you for being here with us this evening. Does anybody else have a thought that they want to share about tonight's conversation, this debate? Yes, ma'am.
Steph? Test.
I just wanted to make some comments about.
Thank you.
I just want to make some comments about debate strategy and communication strategy in particular.
Okay, so listen.
There's a mic right beside you.
We're going to have a little bit of post-debate conversation. If you want to have other conversation, we just ask that you kindly.
Yeah, go to the bar outside. It's still open. Steph. There's a
Yeah, so I just wanted to make a quick comment about communication strategy and debate strategy. I think that Biden shines when he went off script, right? So, I don't know what, people are advising him on, but I think he really shined when he was saying, saying to Trump, combating what he was saying. And I think after the debate, it's going to be surrogates speaking for him because he's old. So I think it's going to be black women and black men and other people speaking for him in the interim.
All right, we got to spin this. I like that. Thank you so much. Introducing a good friend, good neighbor of mine, Mr. Frank Whitfield, the mayor of Elyria, Ohio. Thank you for joining us tonight, Mayor Frank.
Yes. So just one comment I have about all of this, and I agree with my sister here. We have to paint Donald Trump as the racist, treacherous, snake oil salesman he is that puts all of us in danger. Ain't none of us gonna get excited about Biden. He's not an inspirational leader. You can see him freezing, he's stuttering. We know that's not what our Uncle Joe does. So we can't expect that, but we have to think about who's undecided. One group that's undecided is folks who are gonna stay on the couch. And to get them off the couch, they need to see the Tamir Rices, the Trayvon Martins. Trump unleashes that inside this country. And then for those reasonable Republicans or white folks, we need to fearmonger and scare them that they see this country, this democracy may not stand if Trump is reelected. So I felt like Biden spent too much time trying to sell himself. Biden, we just ain't excited about you, bro. That's all good. Show us how bad this dude is, because I don't think we truly grasp how evil, in my opinion, Trump really is and how dangerous he is. So we got to rally around that.
Thank you. We're right here.
Hi, my name is Sonia, and I've had 2 more drinks than I normally have, so I'm about to speak the truth in love. Listen, Biden is doing great, but it's a lot of details he's leaving out. I can understand the fact that he mentions things, but he doesn't mention it with conviction. I want to see Obama them and everybody else get with him and help him to have a little bit more conviction. It was 1,400 people convicted of a felony crime. 1,400 people convicted of a felony crime on that day on the 6th. He didn't mention that. He didn't mention the fact that families had to carry their children to a grave. Come on now. He didn't mention the fact that someone got crushed in the door and died. He didn't mention the fact that people got dragged on the ground and stumped and beat with flagpoles, American flagpoles. He needs to talk more with conviction. I'm just saying, he said some things, but it's a lot more that could have been said. I'm going to vote for him, though, because I don't want no fool in the office.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm Milton Jones, and I'm chairman of the 100 Black Men of America, and I want to say a few things. Tomorrow you'll see news reporters dissect this debate as if it was a football game. They're not football reporters. They're news reporters. They'll go after the fact that Biden stumbled at the beginning. But that's no different than saying somebody fumbled the ball before they won the Super Bowl. I think the fact of the matter is we need to look at what really matters, and that is that this is the beginning of a long race. We know what Joe Biden has done for us and can do for us. We know what Trump has done to us and will do more to us. Look up the 2025 agenda. When you look that up, you will see that what they're looking to do is tear down any part of the government that creates equality. And when they tear down what creates equality, who do you think they attack? So when you go home and you hear young people say, I don't know if I really ought to vote, make them get up and vote. That's like saying, I don't know if I ought to go to school. What happens when your kid says, I don't know if I want to go to school? They end up at school, don't they? So we need to make sure that people register, and not only that they register, that they go vote. And if we educate them about the issues, we know who they'll vote for. But in the meantime, getting them registered, getting them out to vote, getting them aware of the issues is what we need for our survival. Because if you look at the 2025 agenda, and if you look at the projections of net worth for 2052, those are numbers easy to remember. 2025, 2052. It's projected that by 2052, the household wealth of African Americans will be zero. And where do you think that money's going to go? It's going to go to people like Trump who take it away and say, what you talking about? So be aware, be awake. And by the way, why is it that woke is a bad word? Right? People make our awareness a bad word because as long as we're aware, we won't be taken advantage of. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
All right, good morning, brother and hand. I got a text message earlier from one of my friends, and he asked me, what is the black job that Trump was talking about? Anybody know what the black jobs are that everybody's taking? I'm interested in that. Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
So I was about to mention the black jobs, but you got me. Y'all, shoulda, coulda, wouldas is going to be the death of us. If we say Biden should have, the campaign should have, if I was blah, 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 I would have, that's going to be the death of us. My grandma used to say sometimes the choir need to get out of the choir stand, and everybody who showed up today, we're part of the choir. We got work to do. Like, it is not, we know who Trump is, we know who Biden is. It is not Biden's job to be more than what he is. We know that already. It is our job to get out here and do everything we possibly can to make sure we're victorious in November. And us being victorious means not having a criminal like Donald Trump take office. The only thing I wanted to stand up and say is that we got work to do. And we can't point fingers.
Thank you, thank you.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. I'm Soraya Mukurta.
A little closer, a little closer.
And I'm sorry, I just want to say again, and thank you so much to everyone that came out this evening. If you want to be a part of this conversation, please stay seated here. If you want to have a side conversation, which is great, we just ask that you go to another space within the venue to do that so we can respect what's happening here in the front, please. Thank you all so much. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Do I have to press something? Oh, thank you. Good evening, brothers and sisters. My name is Soraya Mukurta. I'm a professor at Spelman College. I'm originally from Algeria, the biggest African country. I am an American citizen, naturalized. I have been a citizen for quite some time, 43 years in the United States of America. This is what I would like to say. I and many people I interact with are far left of the Democratic Party. I'm also very involved with the Arab American community. As you all know, in the Arab American community, there has been intense heated debates over the situation with Palestine and Israel. Those of us in the Democratic Party that abide, and perhaps more on the further to the left side of the Democratic Party, to the principles of what the United States is still in the making of perfecting its goal of true equality and justice and citizenship. I think that we need to continue this fight. We know we're not there yet. And to my Arab American brothers and sisters who are so, as I am, hit to the core with the genocide of Palestinian people, and yet still the right of Israel to defend itself. Just because you are for the empowerment of people who have no power, that our weapons help kill civilians, children and women, doesn't mean that we are anti-Israel or anti-Jewish people. We're interested in alliances. We, meaning people of, who are American, naturalized like me, of Arab descent, interested in alliances along the lines that would help us as Americans to advance further our work to reach the ideal of true democracy, justice, and equality, and how the world perceives us has a lot to do with the consistencies, how consistent we remain to reaching our goals. Each time we are inconsistent, and specifically in the case of Israel and Palestine, we have work to do as Americans who want us to get back the dignity and the respect that the United States has. And therefore, we have work to do. I know Arab American citizens ready to give up their American citizenship, renounce it over what we see. But I'm among those who plead with anyone who has perhaps a few reasons to be not so enchanted with everything, in spite of the magnificence of what President Biden did and continue to do for all Americans. And so to encourage us, those of us here and interested people, to continue to open the eyes of our brothers and sisters in America who are Americans. Let us fight and be more consistent. So indeed, the rest of the world can say we are truly invested in what we call human ideals, and that we are truly invested in the life of a Palestinian civilian person who dies is not worth less than the life of an American, of my life, or of an Israeli person. Yes, Israel has a right to defend itself. Yes, the United States, President Biden leading us, has a right to say that the United States has chosen that we have the back of Israel, that we hear that Israel is the friend of the United States. There's nothing wrong with that. The United States, I'm just a citizen here, has the right to decide who its friends are and are not. Yes. But wouldn't you agree with me, if you have a true friendship with your good, excellent, special friend for whom you would die if a bullet came your way, don't we also have in our honest transaction in the friendship to tell our friend, listen, you know I'm the United States, you know I got your back, you know I'm for you. You know, my money, my people's taxpayer people, you know, supplying the weapons that you have. But you're going too far here. Thank you for your time. We have work to do, and I'm with you in the battle. I believe in equality, justice, freedom, and that no life of anyone on earth is worth more than your life or your life, and thank you, or my life, and the Palestinian life of a citizen is equally important, magnificent, and needed as the life of the Israeli people who were butchered. Now, if, last point, if Netanyahu wants to eradicate Hamas, guess what? He's created 400% more, if not more, potential Hamas people throughout the world.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. So we got less than 10 minutes left. We wanted to come back up and just give some closing thoughts. Some of our experts, some of our partners tonight. Thank you all so much for being here. Ashley Allison, CNN political commentator, founder of Watering Hole Media. Dr. Wes Bellamy, former vice mayor of Charlottesville, Virginia, and working with 100 Black Men of America. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Final thoughts before we wrap this up. This cryon is killing me right now. Dim's concerned about Biden's performance tonight. It's going to be an interesting talking point, but give me your all's thoughts as we close out.
Well, I think, hold on, in the back. Yo, in the back. Thank you. So I think it's a couple of things. One, no matter how we view the debate, this is indeed a marathon, and it's very clear that, again, we all have to vote our best interests. I think we heard policy positions from one candidate and hyperbole from another candidate, and we have to, again, vote who is going to be best for our people. I don't think that Black folks specifically have ever had the ability to be able to say that we're going to pick perfect candidates. Our position has always been that we have to do what we must do that's going to be best for our people collectively. And if we're looking at this objectively, then there is only one candidate, in my personal opinion, whom is going to do right, quote unquote, by us.
Thank you. Ashley. Oh.
Okay, I'm Joshua Butler IV. I'm the president of the Black City Councilman of Georgia, and I'm also an elected official. I think one of the questions, and you said it the best earlier, I think President Biden fumbled the ball when he did not address the grievances of Black voters. And we have to do that for him. We have to let him know, and we have to tell people why I should vote. People keep asking me, why are Black men disproportionately not voting for Biden? Are they saying that? Because they don't feel represented. Look, the game is simple. Optics matter. How you communicate matters. What's important to me matters. And until we start to communicate those issues to those voters, that's what gets people out to vote. You have to tell people what they want to hear. And that don't mean I don't want you to placate to me. When you talked about earlier, voter rights, the John Lewis bills, tell me why that hasn't passed. The reason it hasn't passed is because it takes more than Joe Biden to do it. If I was Joe Biden, I would have said, give me a Congress and give me a Senate that I can get the John Lewis Voters' Rights Act passed. It doesn't take but 180 characters to say that. And until he get Black men in a room with him, telling him how to communicate with Black people, it's always going to be a deficit. On the counter hand, and I tell people this, Republicans don't want to hear what Black people have to say. They want you to coon for them. And as long as you Tim Scott and you saying what they want to be said, then they'll let you in the room. It's not hard. It's very simple, but ain't nobody about that life, about telling the truth, what Black people really want to hear. And until we get that done, we are always going to be marginalized and taken for granted. Put us in the room, make us of value, because we are 13% of the population. But that 13% is what gets you across the finish line.
But I would make the argument. I would make the argument though. Black, like Trey Baker was here. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say this. Trey was here. Like on the Biden administration, on the cabinet, they have Black men who are telling him the truth. Like the administration has been helpful in terms of trying to do outreach with Black men. I think Biden is honestly just an older man. He's an older white man. And your point about we have to do the work in terms of educating and communicating with our people, that is absolutely true. I think also some of that is on the administration because they need to have better candidates. But this is, to me, is about democracy. And candidates and or singular people don't maintain or save democracy. The constituents do, and that's our job.
Well,
Okay, can I?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
So my spirit feels very agitated right now, and I feel that from people in the room and in my group chat too, because tonight didn't feel great, and it hasn't felt great for us for a very long time. So I have a very deep yoga and somatic and spiritual practice that I do. And Trey is back here. He's been on my team. When RBG died, we breathed on our staff call that night. We went deep because this isn't about either one of these guys right now. This is, my nervous system has to settle. Our people's nervous systems have to settle. And the only way that can, it might not fully be, I'm sorry, I totally changed the dynamic of this conversation, but I just feel like we are not having real conversations about how our hearts are feeling. Like 4 years ago, I remember being on campaign calls, seeing massive protests go down 16th Street to the White House because we saw a black man executed on television over and over again. I remember not being touched for an entire year because I'm single. I'm a black woman. I don't have kids. I don't have a husband. I don't have a partner. And my parents were high risk, and we were living in COVID. And I couldn't touch anybody. And I'm still suffering from that right now. And I feel like we all are. And nobody is talking about why we are feeling so agitated. Tonight wasn't a great performance, honestly, for either one of them, but it wasn't what people wanted from Joe Biden. And I think we are okay to say that. I think what people are sick of is us pretending like something isn't what it is. But I will tell you, I said this earlier, I can't live 4 more years as a black woman at 42 I'm 41 in 11 months, but I'm about to be 42. So I'm gonna claim that year. But I can't live like that anymore. I gained 25 pounds in the 4 years of Donald Trump because every day I woke up and I was terrified of what was going to happen. I was terrified. And when Joe Biden became the nominee and I decided to leave my very comfortable civil rights job as an executive vice president for the oldest civil rights organization and go work for him, I didn't do that for Joe. I did it for me. I did it for my mom. I did it for my dad, who was a transplant patient who I didn't get to see for 7 months because of COVID. Like, this is not about Joe Biden. I'm like, I don't live my life for old white men. I don't do it. I do it for the ancestors. I do it for the future generations, whether they are my direct lineage or y'all's or whoever. This is a community. And I'm saying that because I don't want to have a take on tonight. Because I said it back there, I don't actually care about tonight. I am a winner. Our people are winners. We are survivors.
That's right.
We do what we have to do every single time. And I will say it here, and I said it yesterday to a brother, and he said, well, how did you say this 4 years ago? I haven't said this ever before, and I've been in politics for a very long time. This will be my last year of doing what I have to do for other people to survive. But I'll be damned if I don't do it in 4 months and do every single thing. I will breathe. I will do every asana. I will do every practice I need to do. And whatever you do to get there, but our people are hurt. Joe Biden is never going to understand our people's hurt. I actually don't need him to understand our people's hurt. He is not an empath. He is a president. We have the ability to help heal our community. So everybody can I'm about to have y'all breathe in a second, but take a deep breath and realize we have a lot of work to do. The work our ancestors have done, the work that we have already done. But Donald Trump cannot win this election. Period.
Yes, that's true.
Period. However you got to get to yes, get there.
Awesome.
That's it for me.
I ain't got to say nothing else anymore. I'm going to
Thank
take
you.
some deep breaths and finish my little drink. And
Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for those remarks. I do, before we close, I want to thank Mr. Trey Baker for being here as well.
Trey.
Senior advisor for the Biden-Harris campaign. Thank you for your work, brother. Mr. Antoine C. Wright, thank you for your work as well, brother. Listen, we are after the 11 o'clock hour. I want to really, really thank Mr. Ryan Wilson with the Gathering Spot. Thank you all for hosting us tonight. Thank you for the work you all are doing. All of our partners, the Black City Councilmen of Georgia, 100 Black Men of America, Watering Hole Media, Paramount Consulting. Yes, and we're going to ask you all some takeaways tonight, but thank you all so much. All right, so a few things to do tonight. Raise your hand if you have moved in the past 6 months to a year. All right, y'all, you've moved, all right? Not a lot of people. So please go to votetolive.org and check your registration status. Folks are trying to purge voters based upon your address or you not voting in the past elections that have come up. Please check your status. If you need to register to vote, please register to vote there as well. And please commit to vote. Go to votetolive.org. We encourage you to look up a lot of issues tonight. Please look up Project 25. If you have not, 2025, thank you. Project 2025, if you have not looked that up, please research what this is nonpartisan, but what the Republican Party is attempting to do to our nation and our country. It's really important. But beyond that, we also want you all to think about the folks who weren't in the room tonight, folks who are not watching on live stream. So we want you all to win with 10, whether it be your family, your household, your children. Go to the polls with at least 10 people with you this November. We really encourage you. We'll be in touch. You all RSVP'd. We'll keep you engaged with our campaigns. But thank you all so much for joining us tonight. There is an after party tonight at the Steak Market. Feel free to join us if you're.
Thank you, Collective PAC and the
we
Gathering
love you,
Spot.
Collective.
Yes, you're here. Thank you all.
Thank you, Quinn and Stephanie. We appreciate you.
All right. Thank you all so much.